Hello, welcome to my video. Please come in, get comfy. Oh, you want to know what I was watching in here? Well, it's only the greatest movie ever made. That's right. Although this is my first video on this channel, I still think it should be a meaningful one. So today, we're going to be speaking about my personal favorite film, Swiss Army Man. A film produced by A24, which stars Paul Dano and Daniel Radcliffe. That's right. The Riddler and Harry Potter are teaming up in this one. But before I get into it, I do highly suggest you watch this movie. It is a real emotional experience and just generally an awesome film. So spoiler warning, okay? I'm going to put a red text on the screen that says that right now. Yeah, it's right there. Can you see it? There you go. I'm going to be getting into some major plot points. So, yeah. Now, the real question is, where do I begin? This movie is honestly pretty crazy. We'll just do a summary, so we'll go from the beginning. Here we go. We start on an open with one of our protagonists named Hank, played by Paul Dano. He's stranded on an island, about to do the no-no, with a bit of rope and a whole lot of depression, sadly. When a person, our second protagonist, named Manny, played by Daniel Radcliffe, washes up on the shore in front of him. After being disappointed when finding a lifeless corpse, he goes back to do the no-no, and then notices something. The corpse is doing fart-powered donuts in the water in front of him. Now, don't ask, okay? You're just going to have to accept that there's going to be some weird stuff that I'm going to talk about here. I'm going to carry on. And he gets down after a few seconds of struggle, hops onto the body, and rides it like a jet ski away from the island, leading to the title card. I'm going to put it on the screen once again. So less than 10 minutes into this film, and I don't know. It's just fun. It's strange, but it's fun. And it gets weirder. I can tell you that much. So after a couple of minutes of riding Daniel Radcliffe, which I can safely say is something that a few of us wish we could say, he does crash and gets knocked out. But he then wakes up, and it turns out he's on the mainland. And it's pretty strange because he picks up Manny and kind of speaks to him and thanks him as if he was alive, which he clearly is not. And he carries him on, and they look for shelter. They find a cave, and before going to bed, Hank sings Manny a song, which later does come around, actually. And then in the morning, they wake up, and we find out one of Manny's strange powers, which there are many of in the film. He can dispense water out of his mouth that has been stored there over time. And then he begins to talk, like a regular old corpse. It's kind of creepy, gotta be honest. Hank then discovers that it turns out Manny's penis is actually a compass when erect. Now, I know another thing which isn't very family-friendly and weird, and it's very weird, but it's a plot point, so deal with it. Then, after a close call with a bear, Manny finds Hank's phone open, with the home screen being a woman. This woman is one that Hank sees on his bus ride to work or school, whichever one, every day, and secretly has fallen in love with. But Manny thinks that he knows this woman, and that it is his wife, which sets off the compass, if you know what I'm saying. But because he can't remember his wife, the compass doesn't work as well. So what Hank does is he recreates the scene on the bus with this girl, and he makes the bus out of sticks and stones and leaves and all that, and he pretends to be this woman, which is really funny to watch. And in this scene, there's that first spark scene between the two. But we'll get into that later. That's not for now. So from this point on, it's Hank discovering the array of Manny's abilities. And in exchange, he is teaching Manny about the real world, because he seems to have forgotten, trying to help him remember his life before. During this journey of remembering, Hank builds real-life scenarios out of sticks and other wildlifey things for Manny. Things like a cinema, bus rides and parties, sparking a real relationship between the two. First seeing them kind of like a brotherly bond, and then becoming more. And there's a moment where I'm kind of rooting for them to be together. But before you get your hopes up, Paul Dano does not shank a dead body. I'm sorry to break that to some of you. Eventually, we arrive at the end of the film. And Manny and Hank break out in an argument because Hank tells Manny that the love interest doesn't know who he is. Because it's just a girl from a bus that he has a photo of in his phone. Creepy and weird. It brings the attraction of a bear. So what they try and do is, with Manny's abilities, try and fight the bear off. Because, Manny can also be used as a gun and a flamethrower, which I forgot to mention, sorry, which causes an accident, and the flamethrower actually launches them into the sky, and it allows Paul Dano's character to see civilization that they are near to, and they've actually found their way through the forest. They kind of struggle to get away from the bear. It's a bit of a strange scene, but Manny actually stands up with his love for Hank. He stands and scares away the bear in a strangely funny way. And they break out of the woods, and it turns out they are in the back garden of the love interest. She comes outside when seeing them there, and finds out that she's not in love with Manny. Manny doesn't know what to think of this, so he shuts down. And once again, he just becomes a corpse. So when the police are called on Hank because, he looks pretty roughed up. He's just been attacked by a bear. He looks crazy. He's literally carrying around a dead person for days, which leads us to the climax of the movie. So, police arrive on the scene, and so do news reporters, and they interview Hank. And Hank sees his father. He arrives on the scene, and he isn't sure where Hank has been or where Hank has gone, but he doesn't see Hank. But Hank does see him crying, and he realizes that his dad has true affection for him, not thinking that this has been a thing. That was a main part of the story. I also forgot to mention that. My explanations are pretty dog, but then he realizes that Manny was his only friend that he's ever had, and that he doesn't care if people think he's crazy because he wants to help his friend. So he steals the body, jumps into the river with the police chasing him. Whilst doing so, they actually discover the world that the two have made together. And eventually, the river arrives at the ocean, where Hank tries to give Manny a proper send-off, whilst a group of people watch from behind. Manny doesn't react, though, because he's a corpse, until Hank farts in front of him, which, by the way, was a whole meaningful thing earlier on. This causes Manny to begin rumbling in a strange way, and he gets kind of consumed by the water, and he takes off like a speedboat, returning Hank a smile as everyone watches in awe. And that's the end. That's the end of the film. Believe it or not, that made me cry. That made me cry. Not many movies make me cry, but that hit home. Don't ask why. One word to sum up this film. Beautiful. That's the only word that can describe it. Again, though, please watch this movie, because it really is a roller coaster of emotions. It is so strange. But I think it's a masterpiece, because it contains every genre: comedy, tragedy, romance, horror, maybe sometimes. There's a couple of scary bits. I don't know. Plus, the cinematography is outstanding. A24, incredible movie company. I love every film they do. I'm excited to see The Whale, which is coming out at some point. But it really adds to the strange amazement that you get whilst watching this film. I think what does it for me is the real connection between the two characters. They have this bond which is so real. Throughout the film, you can't help but love them. Each time they share a laugh or they get scared or angry, you feel like you're alongside them on this journey. And I can't tell you what the ending means, and I can't tell you what actually happens in the film. All I can say is 10 out of 10. I love it. And I can't say it enough. For the last time, I will say it though. You need to watch it. You gotta watch this film. So yeah, I guess that's the whole video. I'm gonna finish the video here. I don't know how long videos need to be for people to like. Also, you may notice the set is looking a little bare right now. I think my plan is to add a little kind of Easter egg for each video I do. So, like this video, boom. Hopefully a poster just appeared on the wall or something. Maybe a little photograph on the table. I don't know. But a little Swiss Army Man thing. I'm pretty new to YouTube, but I'm gonna keep it real. Give me some help, please. So maybe leave a suggestion in the comments on what film to do next. Or leave a like, just so I know that you kind of like this stuff. It is fun. I enjoy it. Anyways, thanks. And I'll see you again soon, I guess. Bye.